Okay. So now it's like, May 15th, I think. Is that or the 16th? It's Sunday. I think it's the 15th. Could be the 16th. Maybe yesterday was the 15th. Anyway, I got up at 4 this morning. Okay. Right? I hadn't even been up for 2 minutes, people. Okay? And what do I hear and see? I hear, right? Over there. And then flashing blue lights go speeding on by. Right? Because it's dark, so you can see, right? And like this road here is not very big, so where this cop car was speeding to, I don't know, because it comes to a dead end down there. And this other one went beep, beep over there, right? And I'm like, you little buggers, who the hell are you chasing at 4 o'clock in the morning? It just made me think of Ciera, people. And then I'm thinking, right? And I'm like, okay, you booked that trial date for September 19th, 2022. And even if I would have picked the April trial date, it still wouldn't have, it would have surpassed, right, the so-called quote-unquote statute of limitation as to what happened to Ciera's death and that investigation around it. As I got cops going zippity-doo, right, at 4 o'clock in the morning at high speed down my side road here with them, beep, beep over there, right? Obviously they were chasing somebody. And like, I don't know what my government's going to do with this lawsuit, people. Like, I really don't. I would suspect that they're going to try and call me in to get it thrown out, right? Before it even starts. But I always say I'd write another lawsuit, right? Before I'd allow that to happen. But the thing is, by the time I find out, because they might leave it till the bitter end and then get it try and throw it out when we actually get to court in September of 2022, because in their minds, time is their weapon, right? That's a long time to pass without any mishaps with the type of pressures that I have every day, right, people? And we're going to talk about some of these pressures in a minute. So I'm like, well, you could just start writing another one as a backup. Because, you know what? She's been dead for over a year, and I've received nothing official from the coroner's report. Like from the coroner's office, nothing in writing, nothing official. And I've never heard back from the cops, people, about what their investigation proved. Like, is it a closed file? Is it a open file? Like, what kind of file do they have on Ciera? And they'd only be investigating themselves. I'm sitting here at 4:30 in the morning thinking, and it's like, it's the cops that need to clean out their own swamp, people. They need to weed out their own riffraff. Right? It goes back to that broad sweep, the one cop in the back saying, the RCMP is a big police force. It's huge. Not everybody is corrupt. So, anyway, as I'm thinking about these things, I'm thinking about, well, you got to get up into this sewing. It's like coming down to now or never. Obviously not right now, but the only way I could possibly bring in any kind of sewing into this room would be to start taking out the paper. Right? How many years has this paper been in here? Uncle John's been gone since 2015, people. It started with Andre in 2010, and it got real bad in 2012, 13. So, I only have so many years left, and the government knows it. So that's why I say time is their weapon. So in the meantime, you know, just keep moving forward. So, being that I want to get in here and I want to start sewing, I want to make some clothes for Amari, pants and stuff for Andre. Those are easy things. I've got the fabric for the most part, right? You know, I mean, once you use it, it's done, but you can always go get more. But I've got enough to make a fair amount of shit. I'd have to dig out my ribbing, but that wouldn't be too hard. But before I can do any of that, I got to work on this puppet show. So I've got this fabric here, which is just a polyester. It's nothing fancy. I got it real cheap. Look. In Value Village days. Alright. It's good fabric. It's nice and thick. It's really durable. And it's a lot. Look. What I'm doing is I'm making a cover for that puppet show. I brought out Amari's wheelchair and I put it in the living room, right? He's not really using it in the bedroom. So he can sit and play, and I'm going to see if I can get him to play the drums. Right? I don't know yet. I haven't pushed the wheelchair up to the drums. But I'm pretty sure I can adjust them, because you can adjust the pads, right? So I could probably adjust the drums where it might be interesting to see if he learns how to play drums. Wouldn't that be interesting? He likes to bang things, so he likes music. So give him a chance, right? And then this puppet show, I've got the box that's been sitting in my living room for like a month, but I haven't covered it up. And I'm like, come on. Maybe today is the good day to at least cut this fabric. You know, get it pieced on and pinned and cut and ready to kind of go, right? But it's impossible to sew in here, people. It's completely impossible. At least at this point, right? And that's what brings me to this video. I'm like bringing it into my dilemma to figure out how to frick hell we can deal with this situation. Because I've got non-profit paperwork. That's just a fraction. I got a whole bunch of boxes down here and another box over there. Right? I have to open up all those envelopes, put them into their own months and years, and consecutive months with consecutive years. And I have suitcases full of those things downstairs. That's the problem with non-profits. They take up a lot of space in terms of paper. So anyway, I'm working on getting these out. I have to deal with Revenue Canada. I didn't send in my GST. So I only have about a week to do that. Otherwise, they're going to estimate how much money I've made on the nonprofit this year and say that I owe them $1,200 for GST on their estimations. Went through that once before with Uncle John. I paid the $1,200, finished all my taxes, and then sent it in, and then they gave me back my $1,200, right? And then I took it to the bank and got my money back because I paid for it initially. We didn't make no money, right? And now it's happening again if I don't get this GST form in, right? As I'm closing those accounts and bringing them down to 2, right? I haven't even dealt with Van City yet. I'm telling you, this government just fucked everything over, made it so hard, so just depressing. Everything's depressing right now. So, I used to have nice sewing scissors, but I've been kind of using them around the house. So I can't use those ones to cut fabric. But I have this. So I'm hoping I'll be able to find a good pair in here. There's lots to choose from. So you can always tell when there's a seamstress in the house because they like scissors. It's just, I only like certain kind, right, that, you know, have this feel, right? Like this one's not too bad. These are kind of small. I like mine bigger. And these ones are all small. So I have a choice. I'll choose. I'm not sure. I have to see what feels comfortable. And then, now that I can, I'll just take one pair out. Maybe two. These ones. They should be fine. And maybe these ones. I still have to do that rabbit hutch. Yesterday, after doing the rabbit hutch, all this bending and stretching and pulling and lifting and contorting, getting inside that rabbit hutch was like contorting. It was like, you know, it was weird. Because I have to get right up in it, right? I have to get back, I have to get into it and run boards. And anyway, my hand was a little weak, right? Kept dropping things, like the silverware as I'm washing the dishes. So I like, no, that's okay. I'm not going to be pulling out a skill saw today with my hands all stiff from working in the rabbit hutch. But I have to kind of get out there today at some point and do something, right? So in the meantime, I'm in here. Really don't know what I'm doing. Outside of I'm trying to do, you know, trying to stay positive. So anyway, yeah, just, I need to make some space in here, people. I don't know. I'll show you. Anyway, so work on those, right? I mean, look at this. How the heck are you supposed to sew? Tell me. As if. Non-profit, non-profit, non-profit. I have another box of non-profit, but plus I have a whole bunch of envelopes full of non-profit. Right? Let's see. I'll log everything down 1 cent at a time. For the bank to take it, because everything went dormant. Right? There's Andrew's more than 3.5 page submitment to the judge in the Court of Appeals. Right? His case law. I wonder what he's thinking now. I'm sure the government's asking him what the heck happened. What do you think? I like to know how he's going to throw that one out. Anyway, I'll have to sort all that shit out. This is new stuff coming in with all this crap that they're doing right now with these inoculations and God knows what else. Right? See? I have to make another one of those things. Lots of stuff to do in here. I've been waiting for this light guy to help me with these lights. And it's just not getting done, people. So, that's it. I'm not even really that motivated. That's why I thought I'd do something simple. And just maybe... you run, move, lift, pull. Whatever, strain yourself, brace yourself. Alright, whatever it is. Sometimes you just want low energy, right? Covering up that box, I'll show you. If you remember, if you've been watching my videos. Right, there it is. See, look at that box. I'm making a puppet show with that box. And then this way, Maury can, see, there's his wheelchair. Can be a part of the puppet show. Plus, I'm going to push him up to the drums over here. And see if maybe he can, like I said, whack on those drums. And learn to remember what's what with those pads. You never know, I might be able to make music. And then, if you introduce them to that, they have electronic devices to help them to talk. Right? In terms of as they age. So we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So I don't know where to start, people. I just don't. I'm kind of tired. And I'm not looking forward to going outside. Actually, I might not even be able to go outside because it's the weather right now is very cloudy and moist. And I don't like taking out the skill saw when it's, you know, too moist. A little moist, yeah, okay, maybe, but when it's a lot of humidity in the air, right? It's almost like it wants to rain, or if it hasn't already. And so I don't know. I have to pace myself through it so I don't get sick, right? Because you've seen it. I come into some very grody shit, okay? From rabbit hutch to pond. What you got to see was the end result, and even then, when I was in the pond, because I have to get right into the pond and scrub it, and you know, and I'm like, why are you putting in another pond, Judy? I mean, like, think about it. You have to do this at least once a year, right? If not twice. But then that one doesn't have a very strong filter. I'm going to try and build in another filter, right? Because the filter that I had before just stopped working. And then, but I have other filters I can incorporate, and that helps. Obviously, the bigger pond, because I want to have fish in it, just for the fun, right? Should have a better filter system, but nothing like extreme in terms of very expensive. And just what I have. Just use what I have. But yeah, you know, I got right into the pond, people. It's not just, like I said, it's not just, you know, you have to get in there and, yeah. Just like I got into that rabbit hutch, and when I started moving that hay, all that mildew from the hay sitting there all that time, you know, that mildew, the little particles that fly in the air, right? Molds and mildews and dust and decomposed this hay. And, you know, you move it, and once you move it, it just poof, it's all floating around, right? That's when you kind of like, okay, don't breathe, and just keep working, and hold your breath for a second, right? Oh. And you don't have time to think about it, you just got to get the job done, right? But it wears me out. I don't have the stamina like I used to. So today might be just in here, trying to figure out how to make this room more efficient. Alright. So, I think making it so I can get to my machines is one thing. Like I have to blend the war room into the sewing room where both are doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? As I'm planning in my head, oh, don't forget that window that you have to put into the lettuce room. You got that to do too. So you plan that in after you're done with the rabbit hutch. You move to that, right? That's what you do, Judy. I have to pull out wood from the side of my house here, right? And work on this, trying to fix this porch. I don't even know how that's going to happen. I'm just going to take a big board and put it up over top. The beams are underneath, they're fine, but with that leaking of the water and stuff, it's just rotting out the wood from underneath, right? And not getting a chance to dry properly. And so that's another big job, right? As Amari's getting heavier and bigger, right? And the workload is inside is just as big, right? In terms of cooking and cleaning and laundry, and I'm like, okay, how long do you think you can do this for? Do you think you can make it to September 19th of 2022, right? Do you think you can just keep at this pace and show up to court and say, okay now, right? That's a long time to go, waiting for justice, people. As you got those sneaky cops, zip-de-dee-doo, 2 minutes after you wake up, right in front of your house, flashing their lights as they're going beep, beep, over there. And then everybody gets quiet, and you don't hear nothing. And I'm like, okay, that was a coincidence. At least they're on the job, right? There are not too many homeless people out here left, though, people. No. There used to be. They were much more busier back in the day when Ciera was alive, but anyway, we'll do one more sweep, and I'm just gonna figure out something here. Okay. So this is what we want to get to. I'll show you. I don't even know where to put this shit. Let's put on my glasses. That's where we're getting to. So I have to move out all of this. I really have no place to put any of that, but I'm going to get Andre to start hopefully opening up the envelopes and just start organizing them. Either or, I got to get these out of here, you can see. Alright. I'll start with this box down here. Lucy, I don't know if we should be sending you off a plant yet. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to sending out the box. I got some of those smaller ones, right, that haven't fully come to leaf yet, so maybe we'll try those. We'll see. But other than that, they'd have to go in with leaves, and I just don't know how that would manage with the plant, because they can bend off. I'll show you the leaf stems, right? Don't ask me. I have to label. Oh yes, this here, I remember. This and this is Amari when we were in court. Where am I? Where's my... Oh. This and this. This one. That's what my lawyer gave to me after court with Amari was done. Not much information in here, as much as it looks, right, in terms of actual information, outside of emails, just not telling you what the email was about, but it was between, right, the lawyers were Andre. When I went to court with Andre, I got that much back, but I also have ministry files a little bit in there, right? So you see how the paper piles up. This one's Amari's. Andre's is the same. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. I brought out that fabric for that little puppet show house because I want different fabrics that I can change the covering. Remember? For when we do different puppet shows. But this is a velour and it would make really nice pants. So for what it's worth, I should look for something cheaper around the house in terms of fabric and save this one for clothing. Right? It's not like I can go out and buy more fabric. Okay, so now it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning. I managed to clear off this part. I've been taking a rag and wiping things down. Right? I don't like dust, people. Just, you know. So, I can get to my sewing machine now, which is good. Can't really see. I found, because I'm trying to decide what I want to start selling off, right? I don't know. There's a few things, but it's hard for me to get on that. But anyway, I have these in my sewing room for whatever reason. I guess because probably shouldn't sell them, but I don't think my kids would know what it is, or even care for that matter. Oh, I got some beautiful ashtrays in here, people. I use them for sewing, eh? One day I'll show them to you when I can get to them. Really nice. I have the marble ashtrays. I have the big round colored ashtrays. Oh yeah, I use them for weights when I'm sewing fabric. So, I mean, do I sell something like this, or do I just keep it in my sewing room? Not like I got a lot of room in here anymore. It's pretty much full. Well, I suppose I could put them in my bedroom. Everybody knows what, well, not everybody, but back from my generation, you would know that that's pinwheel crystal, right? This one is a little more finer, so it's better made, right? You can always tell. Right. I have two of those. I had junk in them. And then I've got this little wine glass. I'm trying to teach some of my bowls, my glass bowls and stuff, before I start selling off maybe a couple of them. Right? I don't need that many anymore. I don't really want to, but I have to prioritize my space. So this is, I don't know, it's kind of nice, don't you think? Right? Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll find a little eye patch, so I'm going to see if I can make a new one for Amari. Alright, try and see if he'll keep it on, but he used to pull it off all the time, so we have to resort to eye drops twice a week. Alright. I'll show you what I got done. This side, not easy. So I went through those boxes. Right. April's is on the bottom. I found Kelly's address. She's in Massachusetts. I was supposed to send her a book. I can't remember the book. I don't think she's Ms. Mysterious. Can't remember, people. All I know is I'm going to find a book and pop it in the mail, and hopefully Kelly still lives there. And she'll be like, oh my, it took a long time. Anyway, okay, you can see I like move things around, right? I put all miscellaneous junk in there. I'll pick through it. I have jars down here that need to be put somewhere else, but besides that point, there's the sewing machine. Okay, you can see, right? So, and then I can work for what I need right now just around that. But look at this problem. Look at this problem, people. I mean, come on. Right. But it's getting better. So anyway, we'll just leave it on that. Okay, so now it's going on after 11, so I've basically been in here for 7 hours. Right? Basically, okay? You can see what I've done. Right? It's a little more manageable. No, right? I'm getting there, people. Now, as I'm doing this, you know what I mean? I'm still looking, honest God, I'm looking for CIBC Bank's lawsuit. It's in a plastic bag. It says CIBC Bank. That's the stuff from them sending to me on April 11th of 2018. The day ShaMay died in the house. Okay? I'm sure it will show up, but it should be in here. I don't know why it's not. So basically, I'm exhausted. I don't know if I'm going to make it outside. But as I was just, doing a few things in here, I got into the box where Uncle John's ID is, and Joan's passports, Debbie passports, just that kind of stuff, right? Stuff that if I was a really bad person, because with all these immigrants coming into the country, I know Calgary had a problem with 3,000 false IDs, people. That was a couple years back. That's like laundering money. That stuff never goes away. Just like they're laundering through the housing market, laundering through the fentanyl sales and other drug sales, laundering through prostitution, laundering through illegal organ harvesting, right? Laundering through casinos. They launder IDs. But as I was looking at them, right, I'm like, how come they didn't accuse me of stealing Joan's ID? Like, it dawned on me. Because really, all they took was her dead body, people. That care home, old folks home, called John and I up the next day, said, come pick up her stuff. Hurry up now, gotta do it now, even though she was paid up, right, for the month, for her stay, or whatever, because she died on like the 14th or something like that. 12th or 14th of December, 2000 and, oh, geez. Can't even remember anymore. 13, I think. It was 2013, because she went in 2012. Doctor gave her 1 year to live, and that's exactly what she lived, from December to December. And like I said, Uncle John and I, we figured it out. They shut off her IV with the water, people. And she could succumb to that. That's what happened to Joan. And then the Duncan clan came in and just scooped up on her dead body because she had her superannuation life insurance policy probably some other life insurance policy, and all, you know, like her grave, she had a grave and all that. So they didn't care about anything. All they cared about was the dead body. So they picked up her, well, they shipped it. They shipped her dead body right from the care home to Victoria. And then because she died in December, right, you know, it was blowing snow out here. We had a lot of snow. December 22nd, I think they had their funeral or their wake or whatever it was. They expected John to go there, even though it was impossible in that kind of weather. They refused to come pick him up. We asked if maybe his brother could pick him up, or maybe one of his sisters could cross over and pick him up, right? Versus me driving out here in the snow, right? You know, and struggling and trying to get him onto the ferry, right? By himself, right? Because they didn't want the kids to take him, even though the kids had started taking him more, right? Because he needed assistance, right? So anyway, 14 months went by. Obviously, he inherited money. They never told him about it, people. As soon as he got that flu, the Surrey flu, that was killing all kinds of homeless people out here, right? Went through the house. John was the last one to get it. And you know the story, right? We chose to go non-emergency ambulance because we felt that he'd get better care in light of his age. He was 76 years old, and it was a bad flu, and I didn't want him to die on me in bed from getting dehydrated, right? And I didn't want him sitting in a, what is it called? An emergency ward for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours as an old man. So we thought, you know, non-emergency. They ended up just putting him in the hall, started doping him up, right? I let his sisters know that he was in the hospital and that I didn't know what was going on and that they should come see him. Wow, people, that was it. That was it. Next thing you know, they medically kidnap him, right? I'm talking to Paul as he's trying to Paul the lawyer, as he's trying to contact John. And he's talking to the social workers here that were involved with shipping John to Victoria, right? And they were telling him that those people in Victoria were accusing me, I guess, of stealing John's ID, right? They were thinking to call the police on me. Why didn't they call the police on me with Joan's ID, people? I got Joan's fucking ID in here, right? Like they just, you know... Seriously, the government really needs to go into John's pensions and see if those buggers committed fraud with the superannuation life insurance policy. And see if they tried to reactivate it and he got another buyout, and like a payout, like a superannuation life insurance policy when he should have not, people, because he canceled it. I don't see how they could tweak those kind of internal files in terms of he turned 65, I don't know what year, but as soon as he turned 65 years old, his superannuation became null and void unless he continued to pay $40, $50, $60 every month for that life insurance policy. He said no. He knew what his family was like. He didn't want my life and the kids' lives to be so disrupted from their greed to come in and tearing around everything looking for that superannuation life insurance policy. And sure enough, when they took him, as you know, Cheryl, right, that niece to John, Eleanor's daughter, right, you know, was bugging ShaMay to go find the superannuation life insurance policy, to go find John's ID, as they were accusing me of stealing his ID. And I'm hearing this from Paul the lawyer. I'm like, no, his ID is at home. We offered the ID, ShaMay offered the ID to the ambulance attendant. They took the information and then they gave it back to ShaMay saying, you don't want it in the hospital because it can disappear. Right? So that's how it came back to me, and it's been sitting basically in the box ever since. Right? They didn't care about Joan's ID because they already had all their paperwork in order. John They were running around looking for all the fucking paperwork, trying to use ShaMay to do it, and then accused me of stealing his wallet as they were, I don't know, did they report it as stolen, people? Is it listed on file somewhere that I stole John's wallet? Why doesn't the government go investigate that? And since they're doing that, people, why don't they go and investigate? I mean, if they can fuck with the bank and get the bank to do what the bank did in order to steal John's money, okay? Because that's what they did, people. Then how do we know, being that these are government employees, okay? These are government employees committing these kind of crimes. How do we know that they didn't go in to the superannuation fucking department, the financial department, and tweaked his files? So he ended up getting a superannuation, even though I've got the paperwork here to prove that he should never have gotten it. I mean, that's really far-fetched. I don't need to go that far-fetched with it. But, you know, it might be worth for the government to check into that, okay? Because if there was a superannuation paid out in John's name, that is fucking fraud, people. Fraud, straight up fraud. And they were committing fraud from the moment John got into the hospital, and I phoned those people across the water to let them know he was there. And because they were sitting on that inheritance that they didn't tell him about until 14 months after Joan died. Think about it, people. Think about it. Yeah, no, they didn't care about Joan shit. Not in the least. Right? I got her passports, got her ID, got her social insurance number, got it all, people. They didn't give a fucking shit. And the only reason they wanted John's ID is because they wanted to get into his, find that. It wasn't the pension that they were really concerned about, although John's pension at the time was good, right? Because of the type of plan that he took, people. It would increase as he aged, and then once he died, that was it. It was over. No superannuation life insurance policy. No more payouts of any kind. That's why they were looking for the superannuation. Because they weren't satisfied with the pension that they got when they took them. They wanted the big bucks, people. They wanted the big bucks. I swear, I hope this shit comes back to fucking haunt them. But then, you know, Eleanor, like I said, she works with the immunization program within the province and inoculates all the healthcare workers. And she's been in the system for at least 40 years. So she's a reputable nurse, right? And she's sit on this board and she's sit on that board. And it's those kind of people are the ones that are committing the biggest fucking crimes in our province, people. And that's why the government needs to go dig deep into the files and see if somehow that individual coerced other individuals within the financial department of the government to pay out a superannuation when it should not have been. Because she wasn't satisfied with her greed, people. Greed. It boils down to greed. Okay, I don't want to leave it on that note. It just pisses me off so much, people. Okay, so anyway, if and when I get a little chance to sew easy enough to get to the sewing machine, not that I really know how to use that sewing machine, but, and then here, now I'm going to get into the file folders, right? You know, I have to number them, I have to log them, put them down as exhibits or documents or something, right? So we've got, you know, it's not much. I need to get this up. I've been asking every month. And the guys that were over there are supposed to be doing something. They haven't shown up. And this thing has been sitting here like a sore thumb, right? I need more light in my dining room area. And I'm waiting for somebody to do this for me because I don't really want to muck with it. But I'll tell you what, maybe I'll try it this week. And then that will clear off this table and then I can work on that. Now, all the nonprofit stuff, I'm telling you, it's like 5 boxes full. I am going to sit with Andre over the next little while, right, every day, and just start opening up all those envelopes, start putting them into canonical order, right, and, you know, get on with this nonprofit stuff, too, because I don't know what I'm doing with that outside of, you know, not giving up, I'm just cleaning it up, I guess you can say. You know, like I said, I want to bring it down to 2. They're still sending me bank statements. I just want to bring it down to 2 bank statements, and you know, just whatever it is, people. Now, see, going on to an 8-hour day, and I haven't even started my day yet. You realize that, right?